Hey guys, hope you're having a great day today. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about something that's close to my heart, and it's all about managing your week. If you've ever felt overwhelmed with your to-do list or frustrated that you didn't get a bunch of things accomplished, or at the end of the week go, oh, I didn't even get that done this week that I wanted to get done, then this video is for you. Today we're going to be talking about how to structure a week with purpose and wisdom and God's will for your days in your home specifically. We'll look at some practical tips for homemaking, ways to prioritize tasks, and the importance of putting aside time for rest and reflection. And of course, we're going to ground all of this in Scripture, God's Word. So let's start with our verse for today. And our Scripture is in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15, and it says, "Therefore, be careful how you walk, not as unwise men, but as wise, making the most of your time because the days are evil. So then, do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is." This verse reminds us that our time is precious, and using it wisely is part of a God-honoring life. So grab yourself a cup of coffee or tea, grab yourself a notebook, and let's get started. So let's start with the reality that many women face. Have you ever started your week with a big list of goals? And then by the end of the week, barely scratched off that list? And then the weekend comes and you find yourself rushing around trying to get everything caught up. And then the next week comes and then you're just adding all of those things you didn't accomplish to the next week. Sound familiar? It's exhausting, isn't it? Yes, but there is a better way. When I was feeling overwhelmed like this back in my day, when I first became a homemaker, I started reading old books. And what I discovered in old colonial books, Little House on the Prairie books, Amish books, is that these women who were homemakers, I looked at okay, they've been doing this for a long time. They do this every single day. Surely they have some kind of method or plan that they do. And they did. And what they had done in those days is that they had a different specific day for different tasks. And I thought, how can I implement into a modern day by doing that same method? So with that, you set up a weekly structure. So I sat down and I thought, what are some big things that I have to get done during the week? Overall topics and overall projects and things that need to be done in our home every single week to make it function smoothly. So I was looking back, I had written a book called Large Family Mothering, and it was all about how I structured my home and different things that we had done to encourage other younger mamas out there with little ones and how to help their days. And so one of the chapters is managing your home. And I went through it, I was like, wow, okay, this is how I did it when they were little. And I thought, pretty much the same still applies for today. So I'm going to include that chapter, link below, you can download it for free, and then just read through. Maybe it gives you some ideas if you have little ones and a little bit more detailed things. My life now is a lot easier because I don't have little ones to care for, but still a house to take care of, still tasks to be done. So the areas, I was looking at them, I'm like, okay, these are about the same. So we have about 6-7 major areas in our home that we like to focus on, and one of them was laundry. Laundry, there's always a lot of laundry. Always. There was much more back then, but laundry was a big task. So one of my focuses was laundry. Another one was cleaning. It's the deeper cleaning, the bigger cleaning, the ones where you have to do a real good job to have for the week. That was another one. Baking or a meal prep day. And that is just taking a day to really focus on food so that we didn't have to do this every single day. Another one is an office day. And during that day, I would do things like order library books, research different things, and get bills paid, check whatever kind of paperwork, office work type thing I needed to get done. And then an errand running day. And that was more like getting out of home, doing all the little running we did, go to the library, go to the post office, go to the store, any kind of things like that. And then more of a big project day, because there's always a day that you have to have a more hands-on, maybe outside kind of work or a bigger cleaning project. And then we had a day of rest. So that's how we took those 7, and then we're going to split them up during our week. So I don't know how that's going to look for you. It's going to look different for everybody because I don't know what your needs are in your home. So that's where you're going to kind of sit down and think, what are some major things that take a lot of time that I need to do in my home? So maybe you can take some of those ideas for myself, or think maybe they're going to be different in your home. Now in our home, we focused on the one day a week being specific for that day. Now when I was studying how to choose a day like the bygone era homemakers, I realized that they chose a day because it took them all day. So they would say, Little House on the Prairie would do a wash on Mondays. Okay, but that would take Ma lots of time. She had to go out and get the water. She had to heat the water. She had to scrub the clothes. It was long and exhausting. And then another day, she ironed. I don't iron. We have a dryer, and if you need something that's ironed, that's on you. We get the iron wrinkle-free clothing. But she would have to dedicate an entire day to doing that. So for me, I thought about it, my week. You're gonna have to think about your week. You're gonna structure yours. I'm just gonna give you an example of how we had done it in the past. My days now look a little bit different because I don't have as much that I have to focus and I have to do other things in my days. So I'm just gonna give you how we used to do it. So for Monday was laundry. It was after the weekend. The weekend came, we had done projects, the kids were outside, they were running, we did church, we had clothes, all these things. And so Monday was a lot of laundry. So Monday became my laundry day. So that was the day that I focused mostly on getting all of the laundry washed. Did I get it just that day of the week? No. By Thursday or Friday, I usually had to do like one more load to get me through my week. But for the most part, everything was done. So I would make sure that on Mondays, I would get all the bedding washed, whatever needed to be washed. I had a list from my cleaning schedule of whose bedding I had to get cleaned and washed. So that went in the washer. I also had done, the kids' clothes. So every kid, we did laundry. We had it all lined up in a row with baskets per child. And so as we did laundry, everybody's clothes went into their baskets and they put them away. We also did all the towels in the household, the kitchen things like we had diapers, all of that. Yes, we had a lot of diapers. So that was my main focus, was getting everything washed and dried, folded and put away. So what were some tips and tricks that I had done over the years to kind of help my laundry flow go better? Well, one thing I did is when I had little children, I tried to train them and teach them to put their dirty laundry right into the hamper. We had a laundry hamper outside of there in the hallway. We had one right off of the kitchen. And so everybody put their stuff in that basket. That was your towels, that was your dirty clothes. Not everybody had one in their room because that was just more running for me as the mom. Now my kids are older. Everybody has their own. The girls have their own specifically. The boys just have one in their bathroom. They don't care. They throw theirs in there together. But however it works for you and your home. So everybody was taught, hey, throw your dirty clothes in there, not on the floor. If I see them on the floor, it's like, oh, that's your laundry. Make sure you picked up and put it in there. And then it becomes more of a habit and a routine. So everybody put their laundry in the hampers. On laundry day, I would only have to go and grab those baskets and then take them to the laundry room. And then I separated. And in my laundry room, I had 3 different hampers, and I had one for lights, I had one for darks, I had one for towels, and then I also had a separate basket for my husband's work clothes because he had worked in like machinery and it was like oils and things like that, so it was a lot dirtier, so we left that separate. We also had one for diapers, but we usually did diapers every couple days. Now back in the day, we hung out most of our laundry. So that is how we cut down on bills. That's how we cut down on spending monies, by not heating the dryer up unless absolutely necessary. So I would start my day out and I would get my towels done. I would get my towels washed in the washer. We use cold water. I still use cold water to this day. Never use hot water. The only time I used hot water was when I had diapers. So we'd use cold water, tap water for everything, wash the laundry. We'd get the towels done first. So when the towels were done, we'd take them outside and we'd hang up all the towels outside to dry. Yes, they were stiff. Yes, my kids didn't get to experience soft, fluffy towels until they're later on in life. We had hard towels outside, but it was great. It smelled wonderful. I also did the bedding like that and got that outside on the clothesline as well. And then I would continue on with laundry. So when I hung everything up and I hung everything outside, I would get all of my shirts and I would put shirts on hangers and I put those on the clothesline so they dry. I'd hang all of our jeans outside. Like the dresses and shirts, I just hung up on hangers and made it easier just to grab and put back into the closets. The underclothes, socks, we usually threw in the dryer just as a smaller load. That just worked well for us. For us now, everything goes in the washer and the dryer. We don't hang anything outside now, but you do what you can do in your home and what works best for you. Now, back in the day, I made my own laundry soap and it worked great, but it was before the high efficiency washing machines. And so we had like the drum washer. So I would make a huge 5-gallon bucket of this soap with the Fells naphtha bar and borax, and it worked great. It gelled up. It was great. It smelled great. We didn't even use anything else. We didn't use vinegar because our clothes wasn't staticky. Didn't use laundry crystals. That wasn't even a thing back in the day. And we didn't use fabric softener at all because fabric softener would coat the kids' clothes. When you put it in the dryer, it coats your dryer too. It's a fire hazard. So we didn't use any of that. But now, with the high efficiency washers, they have found that the homemade ones break down and they like cake up and kind of get stuck inside your washer. And I was like, is that true? It is true, because I had a washer years ago, and when it broke down, we looked at it, taking it apart, and I was like, oh, that's the remains of the homemade soap. So maybe they have new recipes now that work, but for myself, I just get soap at Sam's Club, and it works good for what we have. But I understand the need for cutting back, so try to cut back. They even have a big giant powder bag of something at the store I've seen, and that works as well too. Just try to cut down on what you spend to be able to do it inexpensively. So in our laundry room, we had baskets all lined up in our laundry room, and everybody's clothes went into whoever's basket. And then we had a big one of towels. So that at the end of our day on Monday, and then everybody after school and their chores, I said, okay, let's get all our laundry put away. It took a few minutes, we got it done. So everybody would come together, we'd get our big baskets of towels, because we had big ones, and we just dump them in the living room, put on some music, and we would all fold towels and then get those all put away. We would take their individual baskets, and everybody would go to their room and put their stuff away. I had different methods for little kids and for myself, just to make it easier. So my younger ones, pretty much everything was hung up just to make it easier. So I just grabbed those and hung those up. And in their drawers, they had little plastic drawers, I had them put away. I didn't worry about them folding it. I didn't worry about them making it perfect. It was easy enough just to throw their underpants in there, their socks, their leggings. It was easy to put away. So made it simpler on myself. And then we also cut down on the amount of clothing we had. I had found that if we were home full time, they didn't need a million different outfits. No, they didn't, because they were home. They needed a couple for going out, nicer ones like for church and going out to different events. But most of the time it was just play clothes. So keep it simple, keep it good. It's just a lot less for you to have to clean up. We had a lot of little kids. We had 10 and I had 6 little ones right in a row. So we just kept it very just enough for during the week, and then the weekend, and then we were good to go. So I had found when I was doing laundry that if I had enough leggings to get them through for 5 days of the week, we were good. And so just made sure that I wasn't having to do it every single day. If I found that I was running out of underwear or socks, okay, I need to pick up another package for that child. So that way I can go a whole week without doing laundry over and over again. And the kids helped. We put all of this away. I wasn't worried about perfection. You gotta let that out the window, because eventually moms, they do like to fold their clothes. I don't. Greg is more of a clothes folder. His drawer, he likes his nice and neat. Me, I just throw them in my drawer. But I do have kids that like to make it nice and neat, and their drawers look great right now. Some that just kind of throw it in, it's like, it's okay. Underwear doesn't need to be folded. It doesn't need to be nice and neat. So don't worry about that. It's about just getting it put away. But everybody helped. We had bedding. All right, everybody kind of rallied around and helped, because changing bunk beds was a lot of work. So we just worked together and got it done. And then we were finished with our laundry day. And then at the end of the day, it was like, okay, the big accomplished task of laundry was done. Now, even though we did laundry on Monday, we didn't just do laundry. We still did our daily chores. So the list that you made last week for your cleaning, we still focused on taking and doing the stuff that we need to get done during the day. But the main bulk of it was doing laundry. So Monday was our dedicated laundry day. Now, it didn't just mean that if by the end of the week I realized, oh, we're running out of towels, that I waited till Monday to do laundry again. No, I would throw in a load if we needed it. If somebody needed clothes and washed and done, we would throw those in. But for the most part, we were able to go all week and just do our laundry. So I do that with my kids now. I say, okay, do your laundry, once a week, whatever day they choose to do it. And then if I find that they're running out and they're doing it a couple times a week, and I'm saying, okay, what are you running out of? What is it that you're using up? And sometimes it might be, I don't have any socks. And I'm like, okay, well, let's get you another package of socks. So another package of socks will save you from having to do your laundry every couple days. And then that makes it for them to be able to go a whole week. And I do that for myself as well. I know being here in Florida, it's like I have my shorter leggings and I have enough for the whole week. But now that it's winter, it's only cold, not all the time, but I have longer ones. And I only have 3 pairs of those. And so I'm like, ooh, but it's not usually that cold that long. But sometimes right now we're going through a cold snap and it's chillier. So I have to do my laundry more often. I can't justify purchasing more pants because I know the weather's going to change. And so I'm not going to need them as much. So do it based on what you can do for your days and how much you need. But usually go about a week and get your laundry washed. Now, Tuesdays before used to be our dedicated cleaning day. Now, this didn't mean that we didn't do our daily chores. Remember, we still stuck to our daily chores, the ones that we needed to get done every single day to be able to function in the household where it, ran well and did well, but Tuesday was more of our deeper cleaning day. So this day we might do things like dusting. We would do things like window wiping. We would do things like the deep clean of the bathroom, or maybe scrubbing our floors. Whatever the bigger task that maybe we did once a week, remember from your list last week, we focused on those on that day. So however that looks in your home, for myself now, currently, that is better for a Monday for our household, just because of the way our week is structured out. So I don't really have to have a dedicated huge laundry day, because I don't have that many kids that are doing, like, I don't have to do everybody's laundry. Everybody helps out. So it's mostly just mine and my husband's. But again, your household, no matter how big or small, you can still structure it that way by taking a day that you can get to cleaning out. For myself, Mondays and Tuesdays we were home, and I knew that we were going to be home, and so it was like the start of the week. It was the start of the new school day, and so I knew that I could dedicate a whole day, and it didn't have to run out the door. So laundry worked out really well, and so I was able to really focus on that. And then Tuesday the cleaning got done because I didn't have to really go anywhere. But sometimes we had, appointments or events to go to, and it was okay to okay, if we didn't dust that week, that's okay. Or if we didn't get to the bathrooms that week deep cleaning, that's okay, because you know what, the next week we would get to it. So focus on a day that you can try to be home. Maybe it doesn't work out all the time, but for the most part you can be home and you can structure, and that was my focus for our bigger cleaning day. And then Wednesday in our household back in the day was our kitchen day, and I'm making it become more of my kitchen baking day now as well, because it works out good that day. I like to take one day a week and really focus on doing bulk of our cooking, or doing dedicated baking day to have treats for the week. So it works out good for us on Wednesday. So for Wednesday, I like to think, okay, what kind of things do I need to stock up on? Maybe I needed some more dried beans turned into regular beans, and I would maybe soak those in my crock pot in the morning so they could cook for during the day, and I could put them into containers or puree them up and make them into refried beans. Maybe I would look and go, okay, I want to stock up and make a couple protein bites for myself like I did yesterday. And so I would make a bunch of that, throw those in the freezer. Or I would make some kind of treats for the week. I usually tried to focus on a couple, like at least 2 or 3 different ones to have, and then that way if we had extras I threw in the freezer. We usually did, it usually got eaten up in the week, and then had that for the week. I also baked bread once a week, and so we had enough. We had, I think we made 6 loaves of bread, and then that way we had one every single day for our week. And so it just works out good to dedicate specifically to that day. This is what I'm gonna accomplish. Let me stock up on a few things. Let me see if I can prepare some food to make the rest of my week well. Maybe make a couple meals. We would do like a lasagna, and then I would always make a double. So then I put one in my freezer, so I had an extra one in my freezer for during that time. And just really focused on, hey, this is the kitchen. This is where I'm gonna be focused on today. Food, food, food. That's what we're gonna work on for the day. And now also when I'm in my kitchen, after my food and baking is done, this day I would kind of focus on doing those deeper jobs of my kitchen. Even though yesterday is my cleaning day, I didn't necessarily do the deeper cleaning of the kitchen, because I knew that Wednesday we'll be making a mess. The stove will get dirty, the oven will get dirty. So this day I would take, after my food is all done, we've prepped, we've made everything that we wanted to make for the week. Okay, then we do a little bit of deeper clean. So we'd wipe everything down. All the dishes were washed. We would make sure that you go through and do the stove top, and then we'd make sure the oven was wiped out real well, polish everything, make sure the refrigerator was kind of organized and cleaned out as best as we could, and then just really made that our focus was kitchen and making sure that was a good thing to be done. So then I knew every Wednesday those jobs in my kitchen were gonna be done. So if I stared at my stove here and saw crumbs everywhere, nowadays I get to wipe it every day. But if I didn't, I'd look at it and go, that's okay, because Wednesday I'm gonna be cleaning that out. So give yourself grace to be able to get your things done, because you know what, eventually you're gonna have more time in your days. For right now, if it's survival, just focus on, okay, eventually that'll get done. Eventually I'll get to the windows. Eventually I'll get to all those marks all over my refrigerator. It's not about getting it all done today. You're gonna do slow steps to get to the end. I told you it's like a ship rudder, right? You're gonna take like a rudder of a ship, hard turns will make that ship flip over and be a mess. But if you just do tiny little turns, little tiny steps here and there, little changes, guess what? Over time, you're gonna change that course of direction of your destiny on that ship. So same thing in your days. So focus small and just making those small changes. So think, my day was baking. Okay, what can I get done? Write yourself a list, get a plan, make it happen. So Wednesday was our baking day. So Thursdays were dedicated to office day. Office day means any kind of paperwork, emails, bills paid, looking things up online, that kind of stuff was all dedicated to one day. Now today's day, like I couldn't do things just once a week in our household now because everything is more quick. I couldn't just respond to an email 1 week later, but there are things that I do like specifically on one day just to kind of get all of that work done. So for us, back in the day, referring to my book, is Thursday was I made sure that all of our bills were paid. So I knew that if I got a bill in the mail, on Thursday, I'd put it aside, and then on Thursdays, I would make sure that it was paid. Write a check, send it out. Again, everything's digital, so it's a lot different. But if I had letters to write, sometimes, like if my kids receive gifts or I receive a gift, when I get that, I always go get a little card out of my office, and I get an envelope. I write down the person's address on there, and I stick a stamp on it. I put the blank card in there, put it in my planner until Thursday, and then Thursday I sit down and I write out a thank you to that person. And so that just helps get that, yes, make sure that you do those things, teach my kids to do those things, and then also that day I can dedicate to it. There also, on that day, I might order library books for my kids. Back in the day, we didn't have TV and digital because we had bad internet, so I would get video recommendations from people, and so I'd write on a piece of paper, stick in my planner, so on Thursday, I'd order those from our library so that we could go pick them up and watch them. Now for our bills, I use the Dave Ramsey app. It's free every $1, and each month I go in and write down, it automatically transfers your bills over every month of what they're gonna be, and then what I do specifically is when I pay a bill or a bill comes out of my account, I make sure I go in there and write it down on there. That's a good way to keep track of your finances. I did that for years, and it's so nice to be able to go, okay, this is where your money is going. This is what happened to it versus where did that go? What did I do with that? So using the apps, they're free, which is great. You can use that as well, or I used to do it in my planner. When we moved here, I stopped using the Dave Ramsey app and I just started writing it out so I kind of knew what our bills were going to be. So in the back of my planner, I created a little chart with just a ruler and a pencil, and I had our electric bill, and then I wrote down one for every single month of the year. So then I wrote down how much I paid every month. So then I can go back and go, okay, this is how much I spent this month, and that helped me moving here, knowing, okay, what is our electric going to be like in January every year, in February every year. So I kind of have an idea. So for the next year, I can be able to plan accordingly. So using the app, so for myself, I always enter that in there as well. I also use the rewards. Does anybody, none of this is sponsors, the things I use is the Fetch rewards. And so whenever I get my receipts, I keep them. And so on Thursdays, I would take and grab those out of my purse, and I make sure to take snapshots and enter them into my Fetch rewards thing. So these are all things I would do on my office day specifically. Another idea that I would do on my office day if I had a lot of extra time was make sure to write a letter. Yes, a letter. Did you know that nowadays many people do not often get letters in the mail? It's like a lost art. But how great to be able to open your mailbox and get something besides a bill in there. Isn't that a beautiful thing? So think of that this year. Think about doing that maybe once a month. Just write out a nice handwritten letter to somebody to encourage them in their days. Share something good about your life. And so that's a nice practice to get into when life calms down and you have things to do. What I have found is on my office day, some days are very busy. Sometimes I'm like, okay, there's a lot to catch up on. And then some days I'm like, what do I even do today? And I don't really know specifically what to do. And so now I kind of have an idea because I already know all the different things I've done over the years, but before I would make a list, and I printed out this list, and on this list it had all the ideas of things that I could do on that day. 1 was pay bills, 2 was research topics for school, 3 was order library books and DVDs, 4 was find some new recipes for the week. Another one was write letters to people. The next one was go through a magazine pile, because this was before magazines. But I had a whole list of different things to look at. So then if I went, what could I do? Because when you're young and you're starting out, it's kind of hard to remember everything that you can do. So having that list works out really well. I had I don't know, maybe I'll show pictures on here. I used to blog, and I used to take pictures of how I documented this. So for us, I had these little clipboards, and I had them in my hallway. And on the clipboards, I had papers printed out in plastic sleeves. So on Monday, I took out my plastic sleeve with the paper in it and put that in the front of the clipboard. So Monday, I looked over at my list and realized what I had to accomplish for the day. But now you can do things like writing it down on a planner. You have weekly to-do lists. So maybe you would do this. You would plan out Monday would be laundry. And you would make sure that you focus on all the things for laundry. Maybe write down whose bedding you had to do, things like that. If you had Tuesday, your deeper cleaning, you'd write down specifically what you had to do. Your Wednesday, your baking food prep, you would write down the foods you wanted to do for that day. And then what you could also do, this is consumable, obviously, and you're gonna throw it away after you're done, but you could print it out on a nice piece of paper, stick it in one of those plastic sleeves, and then you can just have something to reference to. For me, now that I'm kind of changing how I'm filming and what I'm doing, I have little sticky notes, and they are stuck to my computer monitor, and I wrote down what I'm doing each day and a couple different ideas underneath, so that way, if my main idea doesn't work, I can do something else. So just having those reminders, whatever works for you, make yourself a list. I have found writing over and over, you might like that, but I did like having just the piece of paper printed where I went, oh, that's something I can do on Thursday. Oh yeah, I haven't written a letter in a long time. Let me write a letter to somebody. So just something else you can do on office day. Something else I would do on that day was cleaning out my filing cabinets. So someone asked me, what papers do you keep? What do you not keep? So back in the day, like my mom taught me, save every piece of paper, every receipt. So I did. And then I realized, why do I need all this stuff? I don't need all this stuff. So your situation of what you keep is going to be based on what you need to keep. For me, I take my receipts. I usually take snapshots of them for my Fetch rewards, and then I crumble and put them in the trash. Now, if I need them for business, I will make sure to put those in a drawer, and we have a nice drawer full of our business because we have to keep a lot of our receipts that way. I don't keep any of our statements for our home, our utilities, because everything is online. So I don't keep any of that stuff. Same thing with medical. Well, keep medical for taxes, keep them for taxes, but ones that you would use specifically for taxes, put those away. You'll know what those are. But like the bills for the house and all that, for myself, when I have to do my taxes at tax time, I just can go look up on my electric app and I can see how much I've spent, you know, or same thing for our trash. I kind of already know what our bills are. For business purposes, I would keep like one of our paper cell phone bills. I don't even think they send those anymore, but then I would keep it so that I could just look at it easily when I was doing taxes to know how much one phone bill specifically was. That's something I did do, but now everything is pretty much digital and online, so you don't have to worry about keeping so many things like that. So you might go through your filing cabinets during that time. For us, I keep just the important things, like obviously our social security cards, our birth certificates. I keep all the ones I need for taxes. And then I also keep like any warranties and receipts like that. So if we go to the store and purchase, you know, a TV and we buy the warranty, I make sure to put that receipt into the little pamphlet thing they get, and I file that away. And then when I go through my filing cabinet, if I look at it and see it's expired, then I throw it away. We also keep some books from new appliances in there as well. I'm trying to think anything else that I actually keep. It's not a ton. I have to keep, you know, immunization receipts, things like that, but there's not in school receipts. There isn't too much. Like back in the day, I used to have a huge file. Now it's just much more smaller and condensed. But again, you have to keep what's specific to you. So if you don't need it, throw it out. Pretty much everything you can find online, which is kind of nice. And something else that I would do on my office day if I had nothing else to do and wanted to accomplish it is I'd fill out my kids' journals. So what I had started doing over the years is some people would do baby books with their kids. I started with a couple of my kids were baby books, and then life got busy and I didn't keep those. So I started writing it in journals. And so what I did is took just a notebook, like a ring notebook from the store, the 25-cent ones at beginning of the school year, and I would write in it the date and write different things that my kids have accomplished during that time. And so it's just nice to look back on as they get older to go, oh, I did that at this time. If I went to the doctor's, I'd write their height down, their weight, and sometimes we would include things like their favorites. So I had a favorites page, and my kids look forward to filling those out all the time. It was their favorites page, and it was like their favorite food, their favorite movie, their favorite song, their favorite game, their favorite thing to do, you know, and I would just do little prompts like that, and then we'd fill it out. Maybe I had them write their name, maybe they drew a picture, just depend on their age. And that's something that my kids have looked forward to looking back on in their day. Sometimes I would sit and I'd write a prayer out to them during that time. Maybe they're going through a difficult time, and so just writing a little prayer out for them at that time. So later on in life, they can look back and read it and go, okay, look at what I was doing at that time. I know for myself, my mom used to do little notes like that, and I love to go back and just read those and go, oh, that's really neat. And so I decided to do that for my kids, but have it a little bit longer. So nowadays, as they're older, I do maybe once a year on those books. There was a time where I did like 2 years, and I was like, ooh, I missed a whole year. So try to keep up on that, but something I can have, and then when they're, you know, move out of the house, they can take their little books with them and just have some little memories of life at home when they were little. And I was looking in my book and I saw a section, it's called How We Keep Down on Paper Clutter, and I thought, I'm like, is paper clutter an issue for people anymore? I don't know. Everything is so digitalized now. I don't even know if that's an issue or not for you, but if it is, these are things that we just do automatically to cut down on paper clutter. So for myself, you get a lot of junk mail, right? Yes, I know, especially moving here, new address. People send you stuff all the time. So what I did is you can go online, you can sign up with I know there's a do not call registry number, so you don't get a bunch of phone calls. I don't know if that's an issue or not for so many anymore because you have cell phones, but there is one for paper that you can go. I'll try to see if I can find it, link below, but I know you can go up there and sign in app for it, and then they don't send you any more just advertisements in the mail. It just does cut down way on your paper. I have to do that for here. We did that in the mountains, and I rarely got mail in our mailbox because we just didn't get any of those advertisements. Now here we get a lot every day. So usually when that stuff comes in the house, we look at it real quick. If it's not anything to keep, we throw it right in the trash. So it goes directly to the trash. Anything I need to keep, I open up and look at it and say, okay, it's something I need to keep. If it is, I put it in my little planner so I can take it upstairs, or we just throw it in the trash, whatever we have to do with it. So if it's, back in the day, we used to get magazines and things like that. And so I would get it and look at it and go, this is something I want to read, put it next to my nightstand so that I was able to go through it. But nowadays, something that is big is your digital clutter. Anybody have digital clutter? Okay, I'm guilty of deleting messages real quick before I need them. Yes, that happens. So have a plan. So I know for myself, go to your email inbox. So I would take a folder, and I created a folder, and it was called Save These. Now this way, if I got an email and I needed to keep it for a future date, like if we bought something online digital, but I wasn't gonna use it for months on end, I would take it and move it to that folder. So it was out of my inbox. If there's junk email, I delete it, get rid of it every single time and go in there so my inbox is clean. I do the same thing with my text messages. I know that's not for everybody because some people like to keep everything, but clearing out your digital clutter is a good, helpful thing. Look on your computer as well. Do you have a million icons on the front of your computer? Is there a way that you can consolidate and put them somewhere? I know for myself, I keep the ones that I use all the time right on there, so they're easily accessible. But if it's something I don't need all the time, I created my own little documents, which they have on your computer, and all those go into that folder. So they're not gone, but you just don't have to see the clutter everywhere. It's just about reducing the amount that you see so it doesn't become overwhelming. I do the same thing on my phone to keep down the clutter off my phone, and that includes photos, because you can have a gazillion on your phone. Some people like to keep it on there. For me, if I take a picture, I want to keep it. What I do is I upload it to my Dropbox, and then I move the Dropbox to my laptop. My laptop has a folder called Family Photos, and usually, again, on my list to do on my office day, every 3-4 months, I will take it and I will save it to like a hard drive, so we have it forever. That's a good way to keep those pictures. Some people upload it to the cloud. Get yourself a hard drive where it can be at forever and put them over there, and you'll have them saved. So I'll clean up my phone by getting rid of that. I'll get a lot of snapshots because you guys give me ideas and things, and so I'll kind of go through those periodically and go, okay, keep this, don't keep this. If it's a recipe, I might save it. I even have a file on my computer for recipes to save that I will reference to when I'm looking for different meals, because otherwise it can just get overwhelming with things you need. If it's something I need to order, okay, I'll look at it, what do I do with this? Write it down, put it in my planner, or whatever the need is. Maybe it's something you told me to pick up at the store, so I'd write it on a little sticky note, put it for when I go shopping. So just keeping that clutter down is the key. And since this day I designate to just office day, I keep my regular cleaning down this day. So we would just do our normal chores, but I wouldn't do any other major thing this day. I wouldn't do a big giant task. I wouldn't have a big cleaning day because cleaning takes time. I would just be able to focus just on office work, so I could just go up to my office and sit in there and get everything done. That's a good thing. Otherwise, you're trying to do a bunch of different things at once. It never works out. So having one specific day set aside for paperwork, office work, any kind of thing that you need to do on your phone, even you're scrolling and looking and researching things, that's a good day to dedicate to. And then Friday for a home was considered errand day. So when I was stay-at-home mom with all the little kids at home and all the work fell on me and not them, I would make sure not to plan anything else for this day except getting out the door. So I would not plan on getting laundry done. I would not worry about deep cleaning anything. I would just get up and do the bare minimum. As my kids got older, what I did is implemented cleaning the room that day so that they knew that they had to get up in the morning and get their room clean. They put their toys away, make their beds, and make sure that it was clean their floor. And in order to come out and do the running with us, they would have to get that accomplished. And for the most part, they did. And then we were able to leave. And I've learned over the years, especially through trial and error, that's why I'm here to share for you younger mamas, the best place to be was at home. When you have little ones, it is so much easier to stay home majority of the time and just designate one day to running. If you are running multiple times a day and your kids are stressed out, you're stressed out, they're cranky, everything's a mess, stay home more. Stay home. It makes much more peaceful in your days. I know even now as my kids are older, even if I have to do a lot of running here and there, it does get chaotic in our days. And so the more, if we can stay home more, it does bring more peace. So when you have little ones, just try to get one day focused where you do all your running. It might be a little busier, especially if you have a lot of them, but just focus on one day versus a bunch of days of chaos. So for our household, and it still kind of looks the same today, not as intense because we don't need to travel as far to get our stuff done. Like we live in the city now, so the stores are just a few minutes away, but this is how we used to do it. So we would get up in the morning, we would get our chores done like normal, and then I would take and throw in the crock pot an easy dinner. Usually it was chili because that's an easy thing, dump and go. My hamburger's cooked, the beans just throw in there, turn on low, let it cook for the day. I didn't have to worry about it, no stress. It was done when I came home. We'd also get up and make our lunches to take with us. We'd pack sandwiches, and then I'd grab a snack, and someone would fill the water bottles for everybody. So we kind of do the same thing now. Everybody grabs a snack and water to get out the door. If we're going to go somewhere, we pack sandwiches to take as well. So just so that you don't go out and purchase anything, it saves on that. Sometimes we would do it and we'd go pick up a pizza, and that was something fun to do for lunch. It just depends on what you can do financially, but grabbing your own thing always was good. And when my kids were little, I would do apples slices and I would do pretzels because it was just an easier snack to have. Apples didn't require like 10,000 trips to the bathroom. Pretzels were not as yummy as Cheez-Its crackers that everybody would gobble up real quick, but they still would satisfy if somebody was hungry. Those were two that we would choose for our house. And then when we went shopping, we would take coolers and put ice packs in them, set them by the door to get out the door. We would also purchase a bunch of bread and stuff that would get smushed, so we would take baskets or boxes. This is when I had my 15-passenger van and I had the room. We put that by the door so nothing got smushed. We would take our bags for our library. Usually we had a basket right at the door, and so when we were done with our library books, we put them right in there, so that was easily to grab and head out the door. And then when my kids were sitting eating breakfast that morning, something simple, I would go over the rules with them for when we were out so that they remember. This is when they were little, mind you, and just remind them to be courteous of other people. I have a list in my book of different things we talked about, because that's good. When you have children, you want to raise them right, you want to do good, and you just have to remind them of things, and we all need to be reminded, even the kids. So we would go through that while they were eating. And then when we went to the store, I would always look for front row was awesome because that was real close. This one I had little kids, but I would always look for one next to a cart corral because it was just easier when you loaded everybody in the van to put your cart away. So it helped. If I had a baby that was nursing right away, I would get the baby out and I would feed the baby before we went in. I knew that I had a little bit of time to get my shopping done, and then the rest of our time would go good. Now, this life is so much different now. I don't have to worry about those days, but if you have babies and you have to worry about those, always make sure they got their snacks, their drinks before you go in. All right, they're good now. And if you have to do a bathroom break, do a bathroom break. We would take in our van, we had a portable potty, and so that was a lifesaver. The day we got rid of the portable potty, I was like, sad we had to go into everywhere and go use the bathroom. But if you can use the bathroom beforehand and then start your day, it's so much more peaceful than stopping when you're shopping and coming back a million times and having to, run multiple kids to the bathroom. Now, if my kids were exceptionally good when we were shopping, sometimes I would get a treat. We would get a little ice cream treat. I'd try to buy something that was just had enough in it so that everybody got one, or we'd pick up the pizza, like I said, and then we would enjoy that special treat. And as soon as they get in the van, everybody does hand cleaner. I still do that to this day. We used hand cleaner before hand cleaner was a thing. We had a huge bottle, big giant bottle, this big, the big ones, was sitting in our van in the front, and then as soon as you walked in, you pumped, got your hand cleaner, you sat down. So still do that to this day. Everybody uses hand cleaner as soon as they get in the car. So all my doors on my car have a bottle of hand cleaner. Everybody does hand cleaner. Get in your car, sit down, get your seatbelt buckled. Now when we have a lot of children going out, I would always, and then car clutter can get big, right? So as soon as we got out, I would designate a row cleaner. This was when we had 15-passenger van. I now designate a row cleaner in my car, even though it's not huge, but I still have, 3 rows in my car. So I would say, okay, remember when you get out of the car, you check that entire row and get anything out of there that does not belong. If there's wrappers, if there's food, if there's somebody's items, make sure you grab all of them. That way your car stays a little bit cleaner. I know it's not gonna be perfect, especially with little ones, but for the most part, everything is taken out of there and you won't have such mess when you do go to clean it. Now, when we're out doing our errands, I used to do the turn right rule. So I would plan my trips based on the farthest I had to go, and I would get those stops done, and then we would come back and complete the rest of our trips. Most of the time it was on the right-hand side of where we had to go to get our stuff. Nowadays, I have to go based on weather because it's a lot hotter here. So I try to do my ones that I'm gonna have less frozen stuff in my car first, but I still kind of plan out a pattern when I go. I know if I'm going to go to multiple places like discount store and bread store, I kind of get a plan on my GPS of where we're going to go, and we hit each of the stores until we come home. Still do that to this day. So have a plan for where you're going. It just works better. For me, it's like if I'm gonna have a lot of cold stuff, I always look and go, if I have a lot of cold here, I should do these other stores first. But just having a plan, we would just go turn right, whatever was on the way, and then we came back. That was worked for us. But then we got everything accomplished before we came home. And then as soon as we came home, everybody helped clean out those rows. We came inside, everybody helped bring the groceries in. We put the freezer stuff away, the cold stuff away, the pantry stuff away. If it was something specific I needed to go, we had a basement. Everything went in the basement, and like all the pantry stuff sat in the front of it, and then I would go down and organize it. And then someone brought the water bottles in, and they rinsed out the water bottles and set them up to dry. They would put away all the bags from the groceries, put away. We would empty the coolers, rinse off the ice packs, put those away, put the coolers away, make sure they're clean. And then they had the rest of the afternoon free because we didn't have anything to do until dinner. That worked out good. Then I took my purse and I went through it. I grabbed out my receipts. If I needed to do something with them, I did. And if not, I threw them away. I kind of organized my purse again, making sure it was clean for the next time I went out. And then when you have little ones, errand day is just a lot. It can be exhausting. I know I was exhausted. I would take all 10 of my kids shopping, and it was just a long day, especially with a baby, a toddler, and a preschooler. And so when I got home, I was just like exhausted. And so that's good. That's all I planned for the day. I didn't do anything else. Dinner was in the slow cooker. All we had to do was scoop it out, feed everybody. I had nothing else to prep for the day. Make those days your easier days, especially if it's an overwhelming day for you and it's just a lot going on. I know even now it's a lot. It's not a lot like it used to be, but it's still a lot being out all day. When you come home, the last thing you want to do is more meal prep. The last thing you want to do is more things. Sometimes I opt to grab a pizza. But if you have something planned beforehand, you don't have to worry about that. You come home to a nice home-cooked meal, and that's always very nice. So dedicate one day to an errand day. Now for us, Saturdays were our extra days. That was days that we spent the day cleaning the van out. We might go clean the chicken coop. Yes, we had chickens. Hard to believe. All those things, we would dedicate more to a bigger day of cleaning that kind of thing out, cleaning the garage out, or just picking up outside, whatever bigger task we had. If there was no bigger task that Dad wanted to do or we wanted to focus on, I would look at things for myself to do, like go through the kids' clothing, the seasonal clothing, or cleaning out a different deep cleaning area in my home, or more organizing school for the week or the month, or just working on a project for myself. But then also, my husband worked a lot of hours, and so I was also prepared for it, like if he wanted to go somewhere and if he wanted to do something. Now, if you have a large family, I found that it's hard to get out the door. Yes, it can be. And I know a lot of people that it's just hard and it takes hours to get out the door. Well, I have learned over the years how to get out the door in a second. So if my husband got up that day on the Saturday and wanted to go out, we wanted to go to the beach for the day. Well, I knew what I had to grab to get out the door for the beach. I knew I had to grab our water, the foods we took, the coolers, the stuff for the kids, their clothing, the extra clothing. And then if we went hiking, I knew what we had to take for hiking to make sure that it wasn't at the end of the day going, oh, I forgot this, or oh, I forgot that. So I just kind of intuitively knew by trial and error the things that I had to get out the door with so that we could have a good peaceful day. Same thing for now. If we were gonna head out the day, my kids are all old enough to grab enough, but I know in my head, all right, everybody's gotta grab a water. Everybody's gotta have hiking shoes. Everybody's gotta have beach shoes. If we're gonna go to the beach, make sure we have towels. Make sure we have extra towels. Make sure we have extra water in the car. Make sure there's always extra snacks because they will eat theirs up beforehand. So for myself, I always kind of have that plan of in the back of my head, if we go do something, what do I have to grab to get out the door? Now, I've learned that and not to have to take hours to get out the door because I've just learned through talking to people that sometimes it takes them hours to get out the door. It's like they have to have so much plan. They have to do all these things to get out the door where it's more difficult and it's not as enjoyable. So being able to like just go real quick, that's been a good thing to be very resilient and just be able to get out and enjoy the day. And then I also know where all those items are, so we're not searching for hours. Like right now, I know where my beach bag is and all of our sand stuff's in there, and I know where the beach towels are. I know where everything is that way. I know where all our cooler lunch boxes are, so that way if I had to grab it real quick, I know where they're all at. So I don't have to go searching for, where's the lunch bags? Where's the beach bag at? So that way everything's got a place, right? And then you know where it's at so they can get out the door easy. And then Sundays were dedicated to rest and worship. And so we would attend church, come home and relax for the day. Sometimes we might go to the park or get out, go for a walk, something like that as a family. However that looks in your home, everything's gonna look a little bit different for everybody, but that was our day to more relax. I found that when we have one day to kind of relax, it just even if you don't think you're relaxing, you are relaxing a little bit, and it does help your next day go. If you're going nonstop, I know that when I go, been there, guilty of it, and then by Monday it's like, oh, I don't feel like I got a break at all this week. So I make sure that I take a day to take a couple hours and just kind of sit and relax a little bit more myself so that I can have that time to breathe, that time that I don't feel so hurried all the time. So let's talk about how to make this plan work. I can talk about it all day long, but the only way you're going to get it to benefit your life is if you implement it into your days. And I say start your day with prayer. Start with prayer. In Psalm 90, verse 12, it says, teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. So God wants you to be excelling in your days and to have peace in your days. And so this is just one tool. Go to Him. Okay, Lord, what do I need to do? How do I need to structure my days? And then start writing it out practically. You can use a fancy weekly to-do list or just a piece of paper. And figure out, I gave you some ideas of what we would do in our home. You're gonna have to structure it how your days is. I don't know if you're Mondays, if you're home all the time, maybe you're not, maybe more Friday you're home. You're gonna have to do it based on what is gonna be best for your home. I would definitely recommend writing it down for the first little while till you get used to it. I know back in the day I said I printed out pieces of paper so I could reference it easy. I don't have to do that so much anymore because I already know, but I know just kind of changing up my filming style and what I'm doing that way, I have little sticky notes and it's sitting there and I look at it and go, okay, that's what I'm doing that day. Until it gets like more habit and routine for me in my days, then I won't have to reference it anymore. But it's just a good reminder. Even going back and reading through my book, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that I had done that. And so having a day, even starting a baking day this year, that's something I had done. So getting into those routines and those habits is a good thing to help having successful weeks. And be realistic because things happen, life happens. Things are going to go wrong in your days. There's gonna be an emergency. There's gonna be I couldn't do that today. Or your oven's gonna stop working for the day on your baking day. So you're gonna have to be able to, all right, adjust, change course, do something different. So be realistic. Don't overschedule things at all. And if you set up doing this and you find that, oh, that doesn't work that day, then switch it around. If you find that doing your deeper cleaning on one day is too much for you to do, then kind of break it up. If you find that on your laundry day, you've got more time, okay, maybe take some of your cleaning tasks, like maybe your floors. Take that and do that on your laundry day. So maybe on your laundry day, you do laundry and floors. And those are your focus for that day. It's just however it works for your home, but be realistic and just know that it's not gonna be perfect all the time, but if you have a plan, that's when you can say, okay, I know that on Thursdays, if that's your office day, I'm gonna eventually get to ordering more library books instead of going, oh, I forgot, let me do it right now. No, wait till Thursday and order your stuff. It's about having the plan so that you can just go, not worry about it right now, not stress, and do it on that day specifically. And also if you have little ones, train your children, teach your children these things as well. If they're real little, keep it age appropriate, but as they get older, give them some things to do so they can learn how to do them, and give them a couple tasks to do on that day. Have them help you in whatever way. Sometimes it's extra and it's more, I get it, and I understand if you got a lot of little ones, so make it so it's not so much stress on you. I know in our house, even nowadays, I get up before everybody and I get my work done. But if I had someone cleaning the kitchen and that was their job, and I had to come out and work in the kitchen or do something, I would have to wait till they got up and did the kitchen. So that would just be stressful. So I usually do the tasks that are appropriate for me and that I can get done that don't like ruin my day. Like I'll clean up, but like Maddie loves to clean the floors. And so I figured no big deal if the floor's got a little bit mess here and there because she's gonna do that. It doesn't affect what I do during the day. So kind of plan accordingly that way. That doesn't disrupt your day, and then let the kids help out with the rest. And also celebrate small wins. Remember that progress is progress. Even if it's not perfect, you're gonna have mistakes. It's gonna take you some time. The cleaning schedule that you did last week is gonna take some time to implement and make work. Same thing with this, managing your week is gonna take some time, but eventually over time, like that ship's rudder, you're eventually going to be going the course that you want to go. But if you don't do anything, it's just going to stay right here and not do anything. So you want to make small changes to get over here because we want to get to the good part. And remember, as homemakers, we're not just managing tasks, we're building homes that reflect God's love and grace. And in the book of Proverbs 31, verse 27 says, she looks well to the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. And that doesn't mean that we have to do everything perfectly, but it reminds us to work with purpose and diligence. And don't forget the purpose of rest. In the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 8, it says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it you shall not do any work, you or your sons or your daughters, your male or your female servants, or your cattle or your sojourner who stay with you. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth and the sea and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. So remember, take it and use it. You'll find that when you rest in Him, your work during the week will be more fruitful. And He says so in His Word. So I hope that today's video has encouraged you to take a fresh look at your weekly routine and inspired you to create a structure that works for you and your family. Remember that homemaking is a ministry, and your work does matter to God. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more faith-based homemaking tips, and share it with somebody that might need some encouragement today. So let me know how you plan to structure your week. Maybe give an idea of how you're going to do it, so maybe you can encourage and help somebody else. Or maybe you have some tips that you have used that have worked well over the years. I'd love to hear them. So thank you for spending time with me today. I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day, and may God bless your home and your efforts this week. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, bye.